Nation? This is Truth to Power on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace, the host of Truth to Power. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk to Text line. You can call or text in on that line. Also, you can watch us live on YouTube at 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this right now. When I was doing my show on Friday, we have the nice TV screens on. We usually have CNN, MSNBC, or whatever else they have on. I usually don't touch them. I just come in and I have it on. And on Friday during my show, I was talking about some fun stuff and good stuff. And then during my show, I could tell there was some tension happening inside of the studio, or I should say tension happening inside of the White House. Some may say it was a studio because they think that was some drama that they saw as the world turns. But as I was doing my show, I was watching and I could just see that there was tension between Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, Donald Trump, our president here, and J.D. Vance, the vice president. I can tell they were getting into an argument. They were getting into a back and forth. And I was trying to read on the screen, but also focus on the show. Now, after the show, I had an opportunity to get caught up on it. And boy, that was some mess. That was some absolute mess that we saw going on in the White House last week. I say right now, Truth Nation, we are living in some different times. We are. Like, I am actually concerned about where we stand and us having a stronghold here as American, right? As Americans here in the U.S. Because what I saw this past Friday and what the stories that came out over the weekend, we know it was a complete disaster. And I don't know about y'all, but I feel like as a country, we are less safe now because of Donald Trump. As a country, we are less powerful now because of Donald Trump. See, what we have to understand is that when we find ourselves investing in other countries, we're not investing in these other countries simply because we like throwing the money around. No, we're investing in these other countries because it allows for the influence of America to grow. Elon Musk has this much influence and control in the White House, not because Donald Trump loved him some Elon Musk. It's because Elon Musk paid $250 million towards the campaign, which helped prop up and allow for Donald Trump to, well, not allow, but helped him win the election. So now he owes him something, right? So when we give money to Ukraine and we protect Ukraine, understand that we're protecting Ukraine, yes, right? But on top of that, we are using Ukraine as a pawn, in my mind, to help weaken a country that is our enemy in Russia. But the nonsense that I saw in the White House is something that you would see in a movie. And I want y'all to check it out, 1017 The Truth on YouTube, and check out some of the scenes from what happened as the White House turns.
It in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You
God bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influenced.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influenced.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's backed you far more.
Have you said thank you once?
This entire meeting?
No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
Today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
you
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me?
equipment.
Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Now, I will say this. These are conversations that need to be happening behind closed doors. But the nonsense of trying to blame Ukraine for the fact that they're going to cause World War III when Ukraine was attacked by Russia is crazy. And what we're seeing here is we're seeing an individual who got upset because Donald Trump cares more about his ego and cares more about his image than he does you. There's an egomaniac in the White House, an absolute egomaniac in the White House who is not caring about delivering for American people. Now, I'm not going to hit him on the fact that prices haven't gone down because you know what? It takes time. Now, we can say the economy in the stock market is struggling right now, mostly because of people are uneasy about the pending tariffs that are going to be coming down. People are uneasy about the fact that we don't know what's going to happen in other countries and geopolitical our stance. The country is uneasy about the fact that unemployment is going to go up because federal workers are being fired. But again, we are seeing a person who is operating all because he cares more about how he looks and how he can make a deal versus caring about the American people. And so I have no idea why so many people have a love for Donald Trump, and I have no idea why Donald Trump has this love and affinity for Vladimir Putin. Because a lot of his frustrations that you saw, especially if you watched it, came out where, you know, Zelensky was speaking negatively about Vladimir Putin. For some reason, Donald Trump, I don't know why, and I wish I had an understanding. Donald Trump supports Vladimir Putin. He enjoys Vladimir Putin. But all this nonsense that we are hearing, the talk about World War III, a president of the United States of America said on TV that somebody is going to start World War III. Are you concerned, Truth Nation? Does this make you nervous at all? 833-212-1017. Do you believe that America is showing its strength through this conversation, or are you fearful that we're actually going to have a World War III? Because for me, I'm just concerned that the fact that our country is going to be less safe. You have Europe now looking like they're not going to fully abandon America, but you have, I believe it was Norway, a gas company in Norway refusing to give gas to a tanker, which I disagree with, but gives gas to a United States military boat because of what happened. But do you all feel less fearful, or do you feel more fearful? Do you feel less safe? Or do you agree that we should be isolating ourselves? 833-212-1017. This whole conversation just did not sit right with me. Where we're at as a country did not sit right with me. The discussions that are being had does not sit right with me. And the thing is that a lot of the things that Trump is saying are lies. $350 billion is not correct, right? We can just completely fact check that. And so I just, you know, again, I'm concerned on the direction we're going as a country. But 833-212-1017, that's the Truth Talk to text line. Ron on the South Side, what are your thoughts on this conversation?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Kyle. You know, watching that whole thing was embarrassing. It was embarrassing as hell to see that. And the thing that came to my mind was the words that he used to Zelensky. We better hope that America don't get the same words, and that was, you don't have the cards. The way that he's playing this with, you said, isolating us, if we get isolated, we're going to be out there. The king is going to be undressed in front of the world. So when we finally need that help, and I said it between the 79 block with Kerry and Juice, with Ben and Juice, we're going to be completely isolated, and we're going to be in big trouble. And then another thing that came to mind was one of the callers called and said, you know, as Van said in that clip, did I hear you say thanks once? literally played 9 or 10 clips where he was saying, "Thank you to America, we couldn't do it without your help." But they was trying to little boy him, like I said before. They were trying to make him look like he was a small man.
Ron, really quickly,
and I
agree.
Yeah.
I think what it is that inside of that, and I feel like a lot of people, you're making some great points, and a lot of people have to understand is that what you saw in the White House was not a representation of what the greater good for America. When the fact that J.D. Vance at that time brought up the fact that Zelensky was campaigning, or not campaigning, he was at a campaign event in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania somewhere with the opposing team, right? That shows you that it is they're more concerned about a personal vendetta that you were with somebody else versus actually thinking about the thousands, the hundreds of thousands of lives that have been lost in this war, right? Like they're more concerned about that. And that is the big issue that I have, is that we have individuals that are egomaniacs and care more about their ego than care about actually the world. And that's where I have a big issue with this current administration.
And you know, the information that you're disseminating right now over the airwaves, what kind of gets me is when I heard I heard Tory Lowe say that, you know, fear mongering. What the Republicans are using words like World War III. And one time Lindsey Graham even said that if Donald Trump gets arrested, there's going to be blood in the streets and stuff like that. So when you give information like this, information we need to hear, besides the reality talk shows and all that crap, something that really real could be very real in your life, this is not fear-mongering. This is information that you need. And like you said, he was trying to punk Zelensky, and I'm glad he stood his ground, and he was not the aggressor. Donald Trump advanced, and the rest of the people, it was embarrassing as hell. As an American, it was very, very embarrassing.
I agree. Thank you so much, Ron. I appreciate you sharing your call. And back to one thing he said about the thank yous, right? And again, this is why I say I'm gonna just give y'all the facts. Is that, again, Vance claimed that he never said thank you when he said thank you many, many times. And actually on February 12th, after a phone conversation with President Donald Trump about negotiations to end the war, Zelensky posted twice on Twitter X expressing his gratitude and appreciation for Trump, saying, "I am grateful to President Trump, and I appreciate his genuine interest." And on February 19th press conference, he also said, "I am thankful for all the support of Donald Trump." So again, we can't fall into these traps, because what people will do is they'll utilize that and think that that's the truth and that's fact when it's indeed not facts. Gary, you're on the War Winning 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts on this conversation?
Hey, good afternoon. No, I was just going to say the same thing that the brother just said. I just didn't want to hang up, but I wouldn't say it was embarrassing to the United States. It was embarrassing to Donald Trump because he was shown to be a little man. But I was going to say is how soon we forget Pearl Harbor, how soon we forget 9/11, because we're going to isolate ourselves and nobody's going to be there for us. And that was my comment.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, when 9/11 happened, a lot of countries came to our defense and supported us. And then lastly, to the point about, and I'm going to get to the callers here. I see the caller, Marlon. We're going to get to you on the other side. But about what happened, it wasn't a campaign event. What it was that he was at in Pennsylvania. He was in Pennsylvania on September 22nd. Zelensky met with Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who is a Democrat. But it was not a campaign event. It was a stop at the Scranton ammunition plant where Zelensky thanked the workers for producing munitions for Ukraine. So again, we have to make sure that when we hear these things, we cannot take anything they say at face value. We cannot take anything they say at face value. So when we talk about fear-mongering and things like that, I'm not here to fear-monger. I'm here to create a conversation and also put facts out there. And when you believe what these Republicans, and yes, these Republicans say, do understand most of the things they say are lies. Both sides lie. But one thing that we have definitely seen with Republicans is that Oval Office with Trump is in it, it has no standards whatsoever. They'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll do it, they'll be deceptive, they'll do and say whatever, because for them, it is all about control and it's all about power. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk to text line. Text in, call in as well so we have this conversation. Or, you know, it seems like a lot of us are embarrassed. How do you feel after listening to that? Do you think America has lost its graciousness? Do you think America has lost its strength based off what we saw last week? But also, on the other side, we'll take these calls. But again, I always say, do not believe what they say, because somebody who was in that room as well is Marco Rubio. And Marco Rubio was singing a very different tone about a decade ago. 833-212-1017. I'll play some audio from Marco Rubio, who is the Secretary of State of the United States, and how he felt back in the day and who he actually thought was the aggressor and how his stance has shifted now. We'll take your calls. We'll take your texts. This is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.